How did Desiigner go from having one of the biggest viral songs of 2016 and getting signed to Kanye West's label that very same year, to getting arrested after he was caught playing with his meat in front of flight attendants? Or what about Sheck Wes? He had his chart-topping hit Mo Bamba blow up overnight, but all of a sudden he decided to leave rap behind for an NBA career. There's more to these stories than meets the eye. So in today's video, we're diving into the stories of the viral sensations who went from taking over the charts to leaving us wondering where they went. And when we think back to viral stars, one name that comes to mind is BlocBoy JB. This Memphis rapper blew up almost overnight, but then seemed to vanish. So what really happened to him? Okay, so let's rewind a bit. BlocBoy JB, whose real name is James Baker, was born on May 19th, 1996 in Memphis, Tennessee. His early life wasn't easy. His dad got hit with a serious charge and was sentenced to 25 years in prison. But JB's dad wasn't about to sit around and wait that long. When JB was 12, his dad made a bold move to escape from prison. He actually managed to come home for a while, but he eventually had to leave again.
I don't know. I ain't asking that over the phone or nothing. I asked him when he get out of jail. Yeah, I think they probably got a guard or something, got cool with a guard, or probably caught a guard or something. Yeah. And got his and forced him to get him out. He can't see me here. It was in a blue Jag.
With his dad out of the picture once again, JB found himself looking for support and fell in with a local Memphis gang called Pedder Row Mafia, which is a branch of the Grape Street Watts Crips, located in LA. And like most stories that start like this, trouble soon followed. So way back in 2012, when he was just 14, JB got arrested for a home invasion. To be honest, the whole thing was a mess from the get-go because him and his boys decided to use no masks and BB guns. Like seriously? And I get they were just young teens, but even at the age of 14, you'd think they know better. Although 2012 wasn't all bad news. JB made a big decision that would change his life. He started posting his music on SoundCloud. It took a few years, but by 2016, things were finally starting to click. He dropped a mixtape called Grape Juice, and one track, No Chorus Part 6, really caught people's attention. It racked up millions of views and set the stage for his big break. Then came the song Shoot in 2017. And this track didn't just make waves, it started a whole dance craze. Suddenly, BlocBoy JB was on everyone's radar. The song marked a turning point in his career, attracting the interest of one of the industry's most influential artists, Drake. In February 2018, JB hinted at a collab with Drake by posting a pic on Instagram wearing OVO-themed purple gear. It had everybody thinking, is Drake now affiliated with the Grapes gang? But soon enough, a couple of days later, they dropped Look Alive and it was a massive hit. The song blew up everywhere, hitting number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, and JB had finally made it.
Look alive, niggas came up on this side, now they on the other side. Oh.
But here's where things get sticky. The success of Look Alive was huge and maybe too massive because when you blow up this fast, especially from a Drake feature, it also becomes a double-edged sword. People started seeing JB as a one-hit wonder who only made it big because of Drake. His debut mixtape See Me came out in May 2018, but it only sold 10,000 copies in its first week. JB's struggles didn't stop there. In July 2018, his house got raided and cops found a bunch of guns and drugs, landing him in more legal trouble. Then later that year, while in Germany, he got into an altercation with local police, which didn't help his image at all.
Put your hands on me again. Put your hands on me again. No. Record it. Come on. Whatever you got, whatever you with it. I'm watching you, nigga. Fuck you too. Ha! Now. What?
And then there was the whole Fortnite drama. The game used his shoot dance without permission, and JB decided to sue them. He lost the lawsuit, but it did start a conversation in the industry about artists getting credit for their creations in games. Fast forward to February 2019, and the cops were after JB again, this time for drug possession and firearm violations. He turned himself in, but it was just another legal issue piling up. Around this time, JB also got caught up in a beef with 6ix9ine, who called him a one-hit wonder.
BlocBoy JB, do you think he's the one-hit wonder?
Is that the kid, the one with the song with Drake?
The song with Drake, yes.
Yeah, I mean, what other song he had?
JB fired back, but the damage was done and the perception stuck. I'm not even a huge fan of 6ix9ine, but this time he wasn't wrong. JB's momentum had definitely slowed, and it sucks because he had the chance to prove everyone wrong. Then came November 2020, and JB put his foot in his mouth with a live stream comment about PlayStation and Xbox. He said some things about PlayStation being for the gays and Xbox being for the gangsters.
PlayStation is supposed to be for the gays and Xbox supposed to be for the street niggas. I'm not saying that the gays can't play the Xbox, but I'm just saying Xbox for the gangster niggas.
It did not go over well at all, and it alienated a lot of his fans. But BlocBoy JB's journey is a bit of a cautionary tale about how fast things can change in the music business. He had the talent and the potential, but after that massive hit with Drake, he couldn't really keep the momentum going. JB's is just another example of how hard it can be to navigate fame, especially when it comes at you fast. Will BlocBoy JB make a comeback? It's unlikely. However, his story shows us that staying on top is a lot harder than getting there in the first place. And Sheck Wes can definitely find this relatable, because back when Sheck Wes was just 18, he dropped one of the biggest bangers of the decade. It only took him 20 minutes to create Mo Bamba, and the song was so intense that some parties had to cut it short because the floors couldn't handle the energy.
I got hoes calling.
In 2018, Sheck blew up, signing a joint record deal with Kanye West and Travis Scott, but then he kind of disappeared. Not many people talk about how tough it is to follow up on a hit like Mo Bamba, but no one talks about the fact that maybe he never planned to. Sheck Wes had a rough start in life. Growing up between Harlem and Milwaukee, his parents were always hustling to make ends meet. His debut album, Mudboy, is all about those struggles. But before he became a rapper, basketball was Sheck's first love. He was a promising player, a 6'2" combo guard with skills that even impressed NBA star Mo Bamba, who would later have a hit song named after him. In high school, Sheck's look got him noticed by a modeling agency. Then came a huge choice, play in his team's playoff game or model at Kanye West's Yeezy Season 3 show. He chose Kanye, sharing the stage with stars like Young Thug and Lil Yachty, allowing him to network with other artists in the game. Just as things were heating up for Sheck, his mom sent him to Senegal to straighten out his life. At first, he was frustrated, but he ended up learning some valuable lessons there. And by the time he returned to the US in 2016, he was ready to make things happen. In 2017, Sheck cooked up Mo Bamba in just 20 minutes, and it quickly became a massive hit. With its catchy beat and memorable hook, the song took off purely through word of mouth, with no label backing or radio play. 2018 was a good run for Sheck. Travis Scott fucked with his vibe and signed him to his Cactus Jack label. Kanye West also saw his potential, resulting in a joint deal that promised big things for Sheck. But 2019 brought its challenges. Sheck faced some serious allegations and personal struggles, which, along with the pressure of living up to Mo Bamba, took its toll. So, allegations surfaced regarding domestic violence involving Sheck Wes and singer Justine Skye. Although she initially spoke in general terms, speculation quickly pointed to Sheck. By February 2019, Justine confirmed the accusations on social media, sparking a heated exchange between the two.
I guess you think that people will change, and I didn't want to believe what was going on until it was a point where I was truly in fear for my life and I had to call out for help.
Despite his denials, the controversy took a toll on his career, leading to sponsorship losses and damaging his public image. The legal battles culminated in Justine obtaining a restraining order, though the district's attorney ultimately decided not to pursue charges. Then came the COVID-19 pandemic, only adding to the uncertainty of his career. In 2020, Sheck decided to go after his original dream of playing pro basketball. He joined Paris Basketball in France, eager to prove himself on the court. It was a chance to live out the dream he had since he was a kid. These days, Sheck Wes has already achieved so much. With a multi-platinum hit, a career that spans music, fashion, and sports, Sheck is doing things his way. He pops up with new music every now and then, but he seems to be enjoying life at his own pace. Sheck Wes dreams of leaving a legacy beyond music. He wants to make a lasting impact on future generations, whether he chooses to return to the spotlight or live life on his own terms. By choosing his own path, he reminds us that true success is about living life on your own terms. And it seems like living on your own terms is a recurring theme that runs for Kanye's artists. Because with Desiigner, he was literally out here doing what he wanted, even if it meant getting locked up for it. Born Sidney Royal Selby III, better known as Desiigner, grew up in Brooklyn. With a musical legacy in his family, he started rapping at 15 under the name Do before switching it to Desiigner. In December 2015, he dropped Zombie Walk, and his deep voice immediately stood out. People couldn't help but compare him to Future. Just 13 days after Zombie Walk, Desiigner released Panda over a beat by a then unknown producer named Menace. The song went viral almost instantly, dominating New York and catching the attention of major record labels looking for the next big thing. Steven Victor from Good Music heard it and played it for Kanye West. With 11 record labels knocking at his door, he signed with Kanye's Good Music and Def Jam in February 2016. Even though he could have gotten more money elsewhere, he wanted to align with Kanye, hoping he could take him to the next level. In many ways it worked. By the end of 2016, Panda was 4 times platinum, and eventually it would go diamond worldwide. A big reason for its success was Kanye using it on his album, The Life of Pablo. Desiigner got 2 features on Kanye's album, Freestyle 4 and Father Stretch My Hands Part 2, the latter basically being Panda with the Kanye verse added. At just 18, Desiigner became the first New York rapper in a decade to have a #1 single. Big names like Meek Mill, T-Pain, and Fabulous were remixing it, pushing his stardom even higher. The success of Panda brought him over $10 million within a year of its release. With Panda topping the Billboard Hot 100, he became one of only 19 rappers at the time to have their debut hit reach #1. The pressure was on for him not to become a one-hit wonder. Initially, it seemed like he might pull it off. His first EP, New English, hit number 22 on the charts. But with Panda on the track list, it felt like the hit was carrying those numbers since no other track made much of an impact. After landing on the XXL freshman class of 2016, Desiigner used his freestyle to tease a new track called Timmy Turner. When it dropped, the song was everywhere. Alongside another track, Outlet, it gave Desiigner 2 more charting songs. People thought he might have something special going on, but sadly these were his last big hits. Even at his peak, Desiigner faced challenges. From the start, people accused him of being a Future clone. Listening to him speak, it's clear that's just how he sounds, but the comparisons never stopped.
Future music was ringing off, you know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not gonna say like I haven't heard of him, nah, like I think, you know, Future was a cool artist and stuff like that. It's just like I just have my own style, you feel me? When I just start rapping in my cadence, it just start, you know, we have this comparison that just start coming up and it's cool, you feel me? It's pretty cool to me to be compared to somebody that dope.
Desiigner always said he was a fan of Future's music, but Future threw shade at him, especially during a less than enthusiastic crowd performance in Designer's hometown of New York. Future's associates, including artists signed to Future's free bands label like Lil Donald and Doughboy, criticized him too. Lil Donald even dropped a diss track titled Panda, targeting his hit song. While he got a lot of hate, Desiigner did what most 18-year-olds with sudden fame and fortune might do. He used substances to deal with the pressure. He got caught with drugs in the Lincoln Tunnel and even threw up on stage during a performance, which he blamed on lack of sleep and booking too many shows. Soon, the talk around Desiigner was more about his one big hit than what he had coming next. Whether it was him admitting he didn't actually have broads in Atlanta or Kevin Hart parodying the track in a kid's film, everyone stayed focused on Panda, instead of looking forward to his new music. Despite all this, his journey with good music had only just begun. Considering he was still only in his 20s, he believed he could make a comeback and had big plans for the future. In an interview, he mentioned working on staying in the industry for another 20 years.
Just ignore it and keep going, you feel me? I'm young, I still got many years in the game. I'm only 27 years old, so it's just like, it's plenty more that's gonna happen.
But as much as Desiigner dreamed of a long career, the reality was that the industry and fans had different ideas. For years, there was little new music from Desiigner. Even though he saw himself as a superstar, it seemed like Kanye's initial confidence in him had waned, and within a couple of years, he struggled to release anything at all. Without the music, Desiigner turned to social media to express his frustrations. Over time, Instagram became a place for some of his most infamous moments, leaving fans either confused or worried about his mental health. Just over a year in the game, it felt like he was already fighting against the label of being a one-hit wonder, which can be tough to shake. At first, Desiigner used Kanye's cosign as proof of his greatness, but by 2019, Desiigner was tired of Kanye's antics and implied he wasn't getting the support he needed from the label. His 2018 EP, Life of Desiigner, peaked at 161 on the Billboard 200, making it a commercial flop. Even though it had some good tracks like Price Tag, people had already written him off. Despite continuing to hustle whenever he got the chance to drop music, Desiigner simply couldn't shake the one-hit wonder label. This affected his relationship with good music to the point where in 2020, he had to leave. In an interview, he expressed discomfort with the situation at Good Music and the need to move on.
Because the reason why I left, was it's because, you know, I was going through like a little mental thing. I was coming up out of high school. My pops was in a coma, you feel what I'm saying? So while I was on tour, you know what I mean? I was just like, you know what I mean? Like I was having a great time, but I just knew something at home was happening, you feel what I'm saying? With my mom and you know what I mean? My pops' health and shit, like.
Though he seemed focused in that interview, it marked the first time fans thought he might make a comeback, with some even speculating how he could do it. Some fans suggested that if he embraced the NYC drill music scene, he could jump on the wave and make a return. But instead of focusing on the future, Desiigner kept dwelling on the success and excitement of his early career. Look at his track Letter to Ye from December 2021, where he described signing to the label as the best days of his life. It seems like Designer's early successes might have been the peak of his career. Desiigner didn't have the tools or maturity to express his feelings or navigate the industry as an 18-year-old with a huge net worth. He got resentful and lashed out, feeling like nobody at the label cared about him, only the money he was bringing in. He said that when a serious situation happened with his dad, it seemed like no one at the label cared, including Kanye. The real concern came when Desiigner was seen arguing with his reflection in a mirror at a club. This was the clearest sign yet that he needed help, not a new manager or a hit record. In January 2023, he posted another live video saying he was about to check himself into a mental health facility after having a breakdown over the death of Migos member Takeoff. That was a smart move for someone going through it, and everyone hoped Desiigner would get himself right, but that wasn't what happened. In April 2023, Desiigner exposed himself on an international flight, leading to indecent exposure charges in May. He pled guilty to the charges and said he was checking into a mental health facility for help. He claimed he was struggling with mental health issues related to a chemical imbalance from his medication. Despite getting this help, Desiigner later checked out without notifying anyone. In June, he was arrested in Minnesota for exposing himself again at a gas station, and his situation was becoming increasingly concerning. At this point, Desiigner might be in a better place. At least, that's the hope. But based on his track record of not following through with his mental health care, only time will tell. Looking back at Desiigner's downfall, we can see that his fast rise to the top made him a victim of his own success. Despite his dreams of being on top for decades, the struggles he faced outside of music made it impossible for him to maintain his sanity or career. There's a chance Desiigner will come back from this, but with every incident, it seems more unlikely. It feels like the system that was supposed to have his back broke him, and he was too young to know any better. Another rapper who had serious potential to stay big is Calboy. So, back in 2018, Chicago rapper Calboy, who's cousin to the late King Von, hit it big with his breakout track, Envy Me.
Gang, I was the mob, what was you thinking? Remember them days and that shit was hard, a nigga been thinking.
Yeah, you probably remember and know the song, and after that, he dropped a pretty solid project, and his career seemed like it was on the fast track to stardom. From hits like Adam and Eve to Unjudge Me, he had a bunch of great tracks and everything looked super promising. But here's where things start to go south. Calboy was signed to Polo Grounds Music and RCA Records, two big names in the industry. You'd think that would set him up for success, but sometimes the wrong deal can really mess things up. If a label doesn't let you be yourself or messes with your release schedule, it can seriously hurt your career. So even though Calboy's music was top notch, things didn't stay as bright as they seemed. By 2019, he was at his peak. His music was on point, and his debut album, Wild Boy, was well received. But then things started to shift. Despite a hot start, 2019 would turn out to be the high point, and things got trickier from there. In 2020, Calboy kept pushing out music. He dropped a 6-song EP with some big name features like Lil Baby, Lil TJ, and G Herbo. It did pretty well, but didn't blow up like his earlier stuff. Then he put out another EP, a deluxe version of the first one, but it didn't quite hit the mark either. The songs were good, but something was missing. By the end of 2020, we started to see some real red flags. Calboy had a song that was blowing up on TikTok, but the label delayed its release. You know how TikTok trends can be, it can either make or break a song, and by the time it finally dropped, the hype had died down. Even though it still got decent views, it wasn't the massive hit it could have been if it had been released at the right time. 2021 wasn't any better. Despite dropping some solid music and even working with Lil Wayne, Calboy's label seemed to drop the ball on promotion. A song with Wayne should have been huge, but without proper marketing, it barely made a splash. Calboy was still making great music, but it wasn't getting the attention it deserved. Then in 2022, things got pretty rough. Calboy came out with some serious complaints about his label, saying they hadn't paid him in 4 years and that he didn't make any money off his biggest hit, Envy Me. It's wild that despite having a big song and a loyal fan base, he was left in a tough spot. But here's the silver lining, Calboy is now an independent artist. He's no longer tied to that problematic label, and even though he's not a global superstar, he's got a strong fan base and the skills to make a comeback. Since the departure from his label, he has dropped 2 EPs titled Sorry for the Leaks Volume 1 and 2, and again the quality hasn't gone down at all. He's got that same gritty vibe as Dirk, and with the right moves, he could definitely turn things around. So stay tuned. Calboy might just make a big return. Overall, these artists blew up with just one track and made an impact on the music scene, even if it was just for a little while. Their songs are still heavily nostalgic, and I guess it's a constant reminder that fame can disappear instantly. Anyways, that's it from me. If you stay to the end, you're a real one. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, I'll catch you in the next video.